There are approximately 7.75 billion people in the world, and becoming a part of the elite 1% of the population who happen to be richer than the rest is a competition that has become tougher through the years. But would you believe me if I told you that you can easily climb as high as those in the ranks of the 1% richest people in the world if you had $5,000 worth of money invested in Bitcoin today? For today's video, we will be talking about how having $5,000 invested in Bitcoin can immediately raise your status to one of the 1% of the world's richest people. For the same value, a Bitcoin amounting to somewhere between 0.28 is created, and no more is needed for you to become the next Bill Gates should you play your cards right in Bitcoin. You must be thinking, how sure are we to be making this heavy of an assumption? Is there any statistical ground for saying that having $5,000 worth of Bitcoin will make you feel like a champagne socialite? Well, Parker Lewis answers it all for you. In his article titled Bitcoin Obsoletes All Other Money, there is a section that talks about one defining characteristic of Bitcoin scarcity. In economics, this concept talks about how certain resources are finite in nature, and as demand grows high, the need for that resource becomes extreme. Let me illustrate this phenomenon in a context that will be more familiar to our crypto subscribers. Recently, a DeFi altcoin made waves across the crypto scene after valuing up to a staggering $30,000. The altcoin is called YFI, and it is different from Bitcoin for a handful of reasons. It is not decentralized nor immutable, and it is not even permissionless like Bitcoin. Unlike Bitcoin, in addition, you can't say that the YFI is a stored value. How much it is now can change drastically over a short span of time, and the change we talk about can take place frequently. While Bitcoin and YFI seem to be placed at different ends of the crypto spectrum, they seem to have a common ground when it comes to being scarce in nature. Lewis wrote further in his article and delved deeper into the significance of scarcity in Bitcoin. But before that, let me ask you, if you belonged to the 1% of the world's richest people, would you invest more in Bitcoin? Let us know your answers by commenting down below, and while you're at it, please give this video a big thumbs up. Lewis, in his article Bitcoin Obsoletes All Other Money, delved into the finite scarcity as a property of Bitcoin that makes it promising as a currency. No other form of money has achieved this attribute, and as such, the scarcity of Bitcoin makes it the best currency one may use in today's time. Oftentimes, though, we think that supply is the main reason why scarcity happens. In actuality, demand is just as vital as supply is in scarcity, as it defines the worth of the currency in the process of exchange. The supply of Bitcoin is inelastic in nature, which means that having a higher demand will render the purchasing habits of the people to remain the same. Its number does not change, and yet the competition to buy it intensifies as the demand increases, widening its covered network. Unlike YFI, this inelasticity of supply makes Bitcoin better by tenfold. Explaining further this phenomenon of scarcity in Bitcoin, we dig deeper into the facts. If there were 21 million Bitcoin as a fixed supply of cryptocurrency, and only a single person were to develop a demand for it, scarcity wouldn't be present. After all, there would be so much to go around for one person. But make that one person 100 million and the tables turn immediately, as the number of people demanding a finite number of 21 million Bitcoin immediately makes it a scarce resource. If it happens that more and more people become invested in Bitcoin thanks to this video, and the 100 million people grew into a billion, the resource would be immensely scarce that the value of each Bitcoin will increase tremendously. This circular phenomenon of scarcity is what makes it possible for you to be in the top 1% of the world's richest people if you have $5,000 worth of Bitcoin. Now, let's talk about real-time data. Today, 18.6 million is available for purchase, and an estimated 100 million people are up for the purchase. In a decade's time, by 2030, the available Bitcoin will rise to be 20.6 million, but so will the demand. With the way people are becoming more and more invested, it is not entirely out of the equation to have a billion people vying for the 20.6 Bitcoin left. If you are not yet convinced at how promising owning a Bitcoin may be even after going this far into the video, let me walk you through the average Bitcoin a user can buy given the demand and supply we have now. At an average, only 0.2 Bitcoin is bought per person as of the year 2020. 10 years later, this value is expected to shrink to 0.02 per person, and the statistics will be just as favorable as it is today. In the future, owning around 0.028 Bitcoin will indeed land you a spot on the world's top 1% richest people in the world. Now, if you're doubting whether investing in Bitcoin will only be a short period upside, let me tell you that it is not. And even though we have been talking about it for years, the likelihood of it still being around and becoming a trend in exchange is still strong. As a benchmark of advancements similar to that of the internet, when people first thought that it wouldn't last but a couple of years and managed to be the main driver of progress globally, Bitcoin's possibilities in becoming the main form of currency become stronger by the day. Now, as for you who are currently watching this video, what do you think about Bitcoin's chances of remaining viable in the next decades to come? Share with us your insights in the comment section below. Going back to the video, I'd like to share with you a tweet by @BTCChris_ on Twitter, where we get to see how the rarity of having whole coiners in the future makes the goal of being in the 1% richest people in the world more plausible. With no more than 5 to 10 million ever owning a full coin, and considering the fact that there are lost coins as well as people who own more than one Bitcoin, just having 0.28 Bitcoin will be enough to statistically include you in the ranks of the world's richest people. Again, the scarcity of Bitcoin is at play. The prevalence of Bitcoin in today's time is further evidenced by the growing number of people who have become more proactive in trying to get a piece of the Bitcoin pie indeed. The frequent positive behaviors in terms of utility in Bitcoin have become a promising factor that entices many people to take part, further expanding the demand and increasing the value of each Bitcoin. As they follow the money in the crypto world, they are continuously introduced to the blockchain data helpful in analyzing the future of Bitcoin. Discussions on Bitcoin and topics related to it have been around for years now, and people have been talking about it at different stages of its growth in the field of cryptocurrency. It has amazingly gone over several resistances, and now we are down to overcoming one last resistance in order to experience the same growth that was exhibited during the first time it peaked over previous resistances. There is no other logical explanation as to how the path taken by Bitcoin will go once this last resistance has been overcome. And by the time it breaks at another all-time high record, the status of the utility of Bitcoin will never again drop at a low rate depicted years ago. It is much safer to assume that a positive growth will be experienced over the years rather than assuming the opposite. So, if I were you guys, I would be protecting my coins in any possible way I can. Who knows, one of you watching this video might just be the next person to be included in the world's top 1% richest people.